Hey family, hope all is well. I'm just gonna jump right in into this message that's been burning, burning me. Um, we as God's children, we are undercover agents for God's kingdom. When we think of CIA agents, right, and we watch movies about spies and right, CIA stands for Central Intelligence Agency. So when we when we see movies, right, and we see them operating as spies, right, a lot of the time, you may see them go in undercover, right. So that means that they blend in with the outside world, um, aside from their agency. Aside from the CIA agency, they go in undercover and they blend in with the real world, to try and take down the bad guys, as they say. So we as God's children, right? God gave this to me today. He gave it to me before, but this is a like a running theme that He just has me staying on. Um, we as God's children have to think of ourselves as CIA kingdom agents, right? Undercover agents for God's kingdom, and um, it's a heavy task, right? I always bring this movie. It's a worldly movie, right? But God still is using it to minister to me. It's a movie called Into Deep, um, and the main actors is Omar Epps and LL Cool J. And in this movie, Omar Epps is a cop, and he goes in undercover to try and take down LL Cool J's organization, this big drug ring organization. Um, and throughout the movie, he goes in deep to the point where he doesn't know where, how can I say it? He doesn't know where he starts, and or he doesn't know where they start, meaning the people that he's trying to take down, and he ends. So he's kind of merging the two, and he's not really keeping the two separate. His identity and the identity that he's using to go undercover. And that's a great movie, and God has used that movie to minister to me. Like, we as God's children, we can't blow our covers, right? We say yes before we got here. God knew us before the creation of this world. He knew us before we were formed in our mother's womb. So we can't allow, right? We just can't allow the um, trials and tribulations and the ups and downs of life to cause us to blow our cover, right? So we know that when we blow our cover, we don't finish the job. We don't take down the organization. Now, in our situation as God's children, our main objective is to influence as many people as we can to bring them into the kingdom of heaven and to have them adopt the principles of Jesus Christ. Um, that is our main objective, right? So we can't blow our covers and allow the pain of life, just ups and downs, whatever you may go through. Everybody has their own story. Everybody has their own trials and tribulations. Everybody's story is uniquely tailored to them. So there's, different obstacles and different mountains and hurdles that each individual has had to overcome. But we can't blow our covers and allow life, right? How we say life be lifing. We can't allow life to cause us to blow our cover, right? Because we know when we blow our covers, the main objective, the main target, the main goal is not right. We don't. What am I trying to say? our main goal is not reached, which is to gain as many souls as we can. And along this journey, it gets hard, right? When you're going undercover, like in the movie, in Too Deep, um, you could see the loneliness um, in the main character, which was Omar Epps. Like on this journey as God's children, it gets lonely. It gets lonely because a lot of people um, may not understand the journey that you're on. So when you're in too deep and when you're undercover as God's kingdom agent, you're only really communicating with God. Just like in the movie, as an undercover agent, your really only communication is with your boss or your team back on the inside to tell you, okay, you're doing good here, you're doing good here. You need to make a right here, make a left here. But um, as an agent, when you're in the thick of it and you're undercover, you really don't. You're kind of alone in the journey. Um, you're alone in the journey. Um, and I know I'm kind of dragging this, but I want to give it to y'all exactly how God gave it to me. Um, but it does. It gets lonely, and a lot of the times, the only person you will have to confide in is God, because the people around you may not understand. And as God's kingdom agents, right? Like I said, we said yes, um, right? God knew us before we were formed in our mother's womb, so that means we had to have been at heaven with the Father before we came here, and we said yes. We said yes to whatever mission, whatever call we have on our life. We said yes. Um, so now we're undercover. We're God's kingdom agents from heaven. Now we're undercover and we're in this body. We're in this fleshly body as an undercover agent for God's kingdom. So this fleshly body doesn't matter, but we still have to go through life to arrive at that thought. We have to go through life to arrive at that thought, to know that the spirit matters more than the flesh. But again, we're undercover, so we're still feeling real feelings. We're still going through real life situations, right? Even though we knew God in heaven before, and there's a spirit living inside of this vessel, right? We still got to walk it out. We still got to walk it out. So we still, like I said, we still feel real feelings. We still think real thoughts. We still have real life circumstances. However, we cannot blow our cover, and we can't allow just the ups and downs of this life and the pain that comes with this life, and the victories too, right? The victories that come with this life, because a lot of the time when victories come and success comes, then we lose that fruit of the spirit of self-control. We lose that fruit of the spirit of self-control, right? So it works both ways. Right, we just start indulging in everything that our senses wants to indulge in, basically. But let me make sure I didn't forget nothing, y'all. I'm gonna look right here at my notes to make sure I didn't forget anything. But yeah, it's a lonely journey for sure. And you may meet people, right? As kingdom agents, you may meet people along your journey, but that's rare, right? The scripture says that the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. It's few laborers on this journey of trying to win souls for God's kingdom. The the right way, the right way. So it's gonna be lonely, but along your journey you might meet other kingdom agents along the journey, and it'll make the journey that much more worth it. You'll meet somebody that understands you, and understands the mission and the assignment that you have over your life. Um, but for the most part, it's gonna be you and God, you and God. But you cannot blow your cover. You can't blow your cover. You can't just throw in the towel and abort the mission. You gotta stick it out all the way to the end, all the way to the end. And as God's children and as God's kingdom agents, we feel like aliens a lot of the times. That's because we are. That's because we are. We're not of this world. We are not of this world. Now that doesn't mean that there wasn't a time that um, we didn't operate in the world and do things of the world, um, and go after the things of the world, right? So that's not to say that we just sit on this high throne and we look down at everybody and toot our nose up. No. But that's just to say that we understand who we are and we understand that we are not of this world. We are not of this world. But like I said, we came down here, we used this vessel, and we still have humanly desires, we still have human feelings, thoughts, emotions, right? Um, that makes the journey that much more fulfilling, right? Because if we just came down, it wouldn't be a fight. It wouldn't be, God wouldn't get the glory if we didn't have all these feelings and ups and downs and lows and highs and peaks and valleys. He wouldn't get the glory at the end of the day. So we had to come down here undercover and use this vessel, right? And go through all the things that this vessel has to go through, or this avatar, if you want to call it this avatar, that your particular avatar has to go through, um, and figure out what it is that you were sent down here for. That you were sent down here for. But I just wanted to come with this message to encourage somebody. Like if you're feeling alone, if you're feeling like nobody understands, um, just know that you are one of God's kingdom agents. You are one of God's kingdom agents, and you were sent down here undercover on assignment for God's kingdom. But you have to uncover that. You have to seek God. Seek God first, and all these things will be revealed to you. His mysteries, his knowledge, everything will be revealed to you. And I'm coming to you, letting you know that I don't know everything. I don't know everything, but I know that God dropped that in my spirit for somebody today. All right, so I hope that encouraged you. I hope that blessed you on your journey. I love y'all. Be blessed.